That is an interesting thing about the mind, is that you can find inspiration, and when you find inspiration, when you get charged up, all of a sudden you have energy.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
It's weird.
I talk about in the book also is about I learned how to control my adrenals. If you know how you get that fight or flight response when you get to move real quick.
Yeah.
And I started learning the mind a lot, how to get myself jacked extremely fast, like in a horrible environment when everybody's miserable. I learned how to really find strength in the misery. When everybody's suffering, everybody's all poopy pants and their mentality's down and everything, I started just like, my God, this is where I shine. And I started using all that misery for tons and tons of drive and motivation to then lead people further. Because you can get a lot of power through misery. And once people see that, my God, Goggins is fucking going, then everybody says, roger that. Let me get my shit and go too. So I started realizing that if you can just find strength just a little bit longer, you will have a crew of people following you along the way.
And that is another thing that no one can ever teach you. You're going to have to learn that on your own. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to figure out how to pull that energy out of your mind on your own. There's no book you can read that all of a sudden I have it. I've got the technique now. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
No, it's a grind that you have to start and finish on your own.
You have to take great pleasure in the fact that no one wants to be where the fuck you're at right now. Great pleasure in that. It most makes, it has to bring a passion out of you. It has to bring something very, very weird out of you, man. Like, people don't really understand what that is. When you're in the worst environment possible, the worst situation possible, and everybody's looking like, God, man, I hope this ends. And you see that. Time slows down and you see that. You're feeling that. Everybody has that look on their face like, God, this got to go. I don't want to be anymore.
Have you ever gotten rhabdomyolysis?
Oh, yes, sir.
Did you get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When did you get it?
I got it on my second pull-up record attempt, and I talk about it a little bit in the book there. And I have sickle cell trait, and a young kid just died from rhabdo, because sickle cell's not a good thing, obviously. And rhabdo's a bad thing for having sickle cell.
You have sickle cell trait, but you don't have the disease.
I don't have the disease.
A buddy of mine died from it when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. A guy I used to fight with, used to train with. Yeah, he was always sick. He'd have it, he'd get sick.
It's horrible.
He'd be gone. He'd be out of the gym for months, and he'd come back, and he'd just be trying to get his body back in shape again. Then he'd get it again. Then he wound up dying. He's a talented guy, too. When you got it, what did you have to do?
So they put me in the hospital for a while. That's when my hand got real messed up. And my fluids were extremely low. And I had done I think I did 3,000 pull-ups. And they're like, man, your body is wrecked up.
Were you just not drinking water while you're doing it?
I was drinking water, but not enough. So I was sipping this carbohydrate drink. Mm-hmm. And my calories are extremely low. I didn't know how much I was going to burn through. And you burn through an awful lot of calories, man, doing that many pull-ups for that many hours.
Yeah.
And with the repetition, with using the single points of just my hands and my biceps, my back, like my body was swollen like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I mean, it looked horrible. And so they kept me in there for a while. But
how long?
Probably about 8 hours. I was in about 8 hours on IVs and stuff like that.
So it was basically a rehydration issue? That's a big part of it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tons of fluid. And they sent me home, though. So I went home that night.
And how long did you wait before you jumped back at it?
I think I was back on the pull-up bar about a week and a half later. And then I broke the record six weeks later.
Wow.
I broke the record.
Jesus Christ.